All right, boys and girls, we have an issue that we're going to have to work around, which I'm sure is not that big of a deal, but you'll notice that the right side of my screen is blank. I have tried everything I could to get the camera working, and I cannot get my camera working. I cannot get either one of my cameras working right now. I was actually having a hard time getting into the broadcast software, so we at least got this far. And we're this far along, and I hope everyone can hear me just fine. It's looking like I'm going to have to uninstall and reinstall my software. It looks like it's corrupt or something. Something has gone awry because my sound keeps clicking out on me every time I start and restart the program, and now my video cameras are refusing to work. So at least we have our scope. And I can tell you what number we are on. We have a 1944D roll here. This 1944D roll seems to be a pretty nice uncirculated roll. I'm going to get it out of the tube and kind of take a quick look at it for condition. I haven't looked at these coins yet. Okay, they're slightly mixed, but they're all uncirculated, so it seems like they're going to work pretty well. So let's go ahead and do coin number 1. I'm going to have to tell you who gets every coin. Coin number 1 here is for Dennis. This is coin number 1 off the end of the roll. And this one is for Dennis. I'm going to look to see what we have on here, if anything. Now these are important to check the obverse, the reverse, everything. We have plenty of double die obverses, plenty of double die reverses. We have 2 OMMs and a whole bunch of RPMs to check for 1944D. So we are at no shortage of different dies to be looking for. So we will have to be careful about how we approach this and make sure we catch everything we can. Number 2 is Mr. Worley, James Worley. And again, I apologize that my camera is not working. There is nothing I can do about that right now. I'm going to have to probably uninstall and reinstall my broadcast software so I can get it talking to my peripherals again. I'll probably call Eric about it when I have a chance tomorrow and see if I can get him to assist me in the computer technology part of looking at what is going on and why things aren't connecting properly. But this is James Worley's coin. James Worley is coin number 2. Now coin number 3 in this roll. Coin number 3 will be for Carl. Carl Ignatz gets coin number 3. This is coin number 3. Got a very slight extra thickness on the 9 here. It isn't enough, though. I thought maybe for a second I thought maybe it would be enough to count, but it isn't. Alright, nothing anywhere else on the obverse. Let's check the reverse real quick. Alright, got nothing going on the obverse or the reverse. Getting kind of tired of the lag. Getting kind of tired of my software not treating me right. Gonna have to figure out something to do to make this stuff work the way it should. Alright, this will be coin number 4. This is for Ant2242. And I got nothing on that side. Let's check the other side. Nothing there either. Yeah, the number flips, I'm having to do them in the blind to you guys because I don't have a camera where I can show them. Coin number 5 is for Yeoman. There we go. Coin number 5 is for Yeoman. I don't want to do that with every one of them, though. It just takes too much extra time. I'll just tell you who they are. I have restarted my computer twice during this period of time. I've restarted the software a couple of times. I have deleted the camera connections and restarted new camera connections, and my software cannot find my cameras. The only other thing that I can do that I understand how to do is to unplug the devices from my computer, restart the computer, and then plug them back in and see if the computer recognizes them next time. Crispy, coin number 6. And yes, I did remember my coffee. Even though I had my issues, I went down and made a fresh pot of coffee. So, to those who think I'm crazy, you are correct. To those who think I'm forgetful, no. Not when it comes to coffee. Oh, Sherman tried to fire me, but the only thing Sherman fired me from was feeding him. And, well, that to me seems like a personal problem as far as he's concerned. I put food out for him. If he doesn't eat, that's his own problem. I'm not going to get myself obsessed about the dog eating until he starts really losing weight, which he could use at first. But of course, after a while, if he doesn't eat, then I got to figure something else out. But he simply doesn't eat every day, and I part of it is, well, part of it I'm sure is my wife feeding him little treasures that she finds on her plate. But the other part of it, I'm sure, is his diet changes so often because we're trying to find food that he will eat. Oh, I'm sorry, that was coin number 7. That was for Brendan. I get to talking, and I think you guys can see it, and then I remember you can't. It's coin number 8 now for Penny Hoarder. Penny Hoarder, coin number 8. So far, I haven't found anything in this roll. There is a striper right there. Got a little bit of a woody going on. But yeah, we're having trouble right now figuring out a food that he will actually eat, because he has decided that he is going to go on a hunger strike for some reason. I haven't figured out what his hunger strike's all about yet. This was a roll ender at one time. It got Batdorf wrapped in a crimping machine. Unfortunate. Timothy, it is being shipped directly to you. In fact, I need to update you guys on the orders for last week. The orders for last week had to wait until I finished the pulls, and I finished the nickel pulls yesterday. And so the nickel pulls, the penny pulls, all the rolls, and all the singles that you have purchased over the last week are coming to you all together. Half of them tomorrow morning and half of them Tuesday morning. Tim, unfortunately, you're the last half of the alphabet, so yours will come out of here on Tuesday morning. And then the first half of the alphabet is leaving tomorrow morning. We are up to but not including the letter P by username. So Malcolm has his headed out, but Paul, Penny Hoarder, and Paul Hampton will come up next. And that's just how I ended up having to work things. When I have one of these pulls, I like to wait until after the pull to put everything together in the order, because otherwise I'd have to send them separately and have to charge separate shipping on them. So I prefer to be able to do them together. But Tim, the reveals are the only thing that goes to Florida for Eric to ship. So where it comes to the proof pulls and the single pulls and all of the rolls and other coins that you buy at auction, those come directly from me. They always will. Okay, this... Well, this coin has a kind of a classic handshake of a minor class 2 double die, but there's just not enough of it there to really make any difference. And we're just not going to be able to call this one. Had just a little tiny bit of extra thickness in the U's of Unum. And it just wasn't enough. Last coin in a 5-year journey. How about that? That's awesome. All right, here up next, this is JJ Addict. Coin number 10 was from Malcolm. This is coin number 11, JJ Addict. If I miss any of these numbers and you guys are keeping track, please let me know. I'm not used to having to call out every one of them. Although I probably should, just as a matter of habit. But, well, my habits die hard and they also form very hard, so it's very difficult for me to form the habit to do stuff. That's why it seems like every time I come on here, I'm unprepared because I don't have a checklist of things to go through before I start a broadcast. I just kind of start it, kind of winging it every time. Your Florida guy is Eric Beyer. Eric Beyer has been a part of the Copper Coins team, photographing coins for listing on the website and going through the reveal coins. After I get finished with the reveals, I package them all up and I ship them to Eric. Eric goes through them and does all the processing, photography, assigning the dies, and he comes back to me for the plate coin flip inserts. I have to do the plate coin flip inserts because they are signed. They are pin signed by me, and I'm the only one who signs my signature. And so I send them to him, and he takes care of stuffing the coins and the flip inserts together that are plate coins. He gets those shipped out. I didn't know Eric was a penny drug dealer. Penny Lord. Penny Lord of the Southeastern Quadrant. All right, that was coin number 13. That was for Stanley. Coin number 13 for Stanley. This is number 14. 14 is for Eric. Not getting any really warm feelings out of this roll. All right, that's coin number 14 for Eric. Yeah, checklists are second nature in the Air Force, except when I'm doing them. It's one of those things where you're supposed to be the guy who knows. You shouldn't need a checklist, right? Yeah, I know that's wrong, but it's just the way my brain handles it. It's coin number 15. This is for Paul Hampton. Paul Hampton, coin number 15. Almost sound like someone calling over a hospital loudspeaker system when I do that repetition like that. Paul Hampton, coin number 15. Coin number 15, Paul Hampton. Yeah, they look okay, but they're not high quality. Okay, they're average 1944 Ds, which is okay, but I don't know. I'm kind of spoiled. I like giving you guys 65, 66 level coins. And these are 64s, 63, 64. They're decent. They're choice BU coins. Few little minor stains here and there, but not horrible anyway. Let's just put it that way. Oh, this is awesome. So if things go well, he'll be released next weekend. Great. Awesome. You tell your brother that everybody here wishes him well. And, oh, yuck, we got an ugly one here for Stanley. Stanley, this is coin number 17. Stanley, if you see this, you're going to get full credit for this coin. This coin's badly spotted. Not a double die, not an RPM. So Stanley will get credit on this one. Let me get this written down here real quick before I forget. Let's see. This is reveal number 417. All right. Coin number 17 for Stanley. Now, coin number 18. This is for Ant2242. Yeah, this one's not a whole lot better, but it's acceptable. Not great, but it's acceptable. Well, Timothy, I am glad you feel that way, but I personally would have taken it upon myself to try to spearhead doing something like this for anyone in this family, because I consider you guys my family. And when I do that, unfortunately, you're stuck with me. So that's just the way that works. All right, that was number 18 for Ant2242. Now number 19. Number 19 goes back to Yo Man. Yo Man. Hey, well, this is an original roll. I'm going through the same dies over and over again. I'm seeing the same dies, but unfortunately none of them are repunchment marks or double dies or... For Pete's sake, we could at least find once in a while, we could find a roll that had the OMMs in it, right? Right. How does anyone have a full roll of cents from the 1940s? Well, I tell you what, Custom Painter, it is actually still relatively common to be able to find rolls going back into the 1930s. I have dozens of original red rolls from the 1930s. I have dozens from the 1940s. I have hundreds from the 1950s. That's not saying there's anything really normal about me. There's a little bit of lamination peel going on there. But it's not highly uncommon. This is not a scarcity. They're not so easy to find, but you can find and purchase a roll of 1944D in uncirculated condition for under $100. Hello, Natural Tendencies. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything's going well for you. Yeah, looking at what could be a spotty coin here. I get awful quiet when there's spotty coins around because I don't like them. Yeah, this one's a little spotty. It's not real bad, but it's not good either. This one's for Crispy. Coin number 21. It's Crispy. depending on how the reverse looks, it needs to be pretty darn clean. And it's okay. This one will pass. Changing routine lately? Well, I hope that your routine has changed for the better. That was 21 for Crispy. Now the coin number 22 goes to Chuck Patillo. Mr. Patillo. Looks like we have a very slightly fat tail of the 9. But I'm not going to count that for anything. This might actually be a doubled eyelid. So I think I'm going to need to hold it out as a possible doubled eyelid for Eric to take a closer look at. If you look at it rather carefully, there's a little beady spot right here. And that looks like it could be an extra hubbed eyelid. We have plenty of coins where you get a nice full eyelid. Well, this one's not really full. It's kind of weak. But I do believe it could be there. So this will be the first coin I hold out in this roll. Not saying that this is going to be listed as a double die, but Eric will need to take a look at it and debunk it first. Well, hey, Techstar. You visit all you need to visit, sir. These shows are intended to be... This is a funny thing. These shows are intended to be proof that I opened an original roll, that I'm giving you guys a fair shake, and that I'm not stacking the deck on people and giving people favoritism or anything like that. That was the initial purpose of these shows. Not so that I would get an audience to watch and learn while I was going through the rolls. But that's what it developed into, and I'm happy it did. That we're actually doing kind of an educational show where I teach you about die state and about die scratches and about double dies, repunchment marks, all kinds of different things, little minor errors. Well, that's ugly. It's a pretty obverse. That one is number 23. That's for Penny Hoarder. But the end result is that we have a show that has gained a certain amount of popularity, and it has kind of developed into its own little breathable monster. Okay, so I continue doing it this way because I know people enjoy watching it. I've actually had a couple of different people say words to the effect that this is kind of like their coin crack. It's like they have to sit and watch this show because they love it. I wouldn't want to take anybody's crack away from them. So, we do this. It's fun. We have a good time with it. But my point, I guess, was that I never really intended for this show to be watched live. I never thought that I would ever run into a problem with when I was scheduling these shows and when I thought the most people could show up. Because when I first started this, the idea was that I'm usually up. There's a big old Larry on the back of that one. Larry is the guy with the chocolate bar in his hand while they're working the machines at the press. And Larry gets his fingers all over these coins and puts fingerprints on them. So this is Larry. And Deanne's going to get credit for this one because it has a huge Larry on the back of it. And so we've got coin number 25 right in the middle of the roll. For Deanne, we'll get full credit back on this one. Now number 26. 26 goes to Eric. Eric will have this coin number 26. Kind of late die state. You can tell because of all those fuzzy little lines headed toward the outside edge of the design. That's molecules of steel from the face of the die that swam outward like a pancake or like raindrops on a windshield going down a highway. And as the die ages, those lines get longer and longer, kind of like driving down the road in the rain and not turning your windshield wipers on. Those little rain lines get more plentiful and longer. Well, that's what happens when dies start to age. When they're Your typical die is going to withstand anywhere between 100 and 300,000 strikes generally. And when you get closer to 300,000 strikes, that's when you really start wearing it out. Now, the first coins struck by any given die, you're going to end up with very, very sharp details. And then as the dies wear out, as they strike more and more coins, they eventually wear out to a point where you get this. Very soft. See the back of the head, where the hair is on the back of the head, and you've got all these lines sticking out? Well, those are flow lines. We call those flow lines because they're the natural flow of the molecules of steel from the die as it strikes coins. So you can imagine the absence of all those would be a very, very sharp, very nice looking design. And I haven't seen any really good ones that would mark up as early die state or early mid die state yet in this roll. This roll's been a little bit disappointing as far as all that's concerned. From late to very late die state, a roll that was not stored in the best of conditions because all the little spots and stains that you see on these coins come from the fact that the roll was probably stored in the paper that it came in for a long time in a moisture-laden environment before it was placed into a tube and stored in better and drier conditions. Now, my conditions here are pretty dry because I have a relatively dry room, and all of my better rolls are stored in air conditioning. I'm glad you're helping out, Malcolm. Thank you. Yeah, send me an email, get registered. That'll give you the opportunity to be able to get into rolls like this. Tomorrow night is the show, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I live in North Carolina, so all of my times are Eastern Time. See, this is a mid-die state here. You see how everything looks a little bit sharper than some of these other coins, and those lines are not nearly as plentiful, and your design still looks rather sharp on the outside edge of everything. This is a mid-die state. So you can imagine the difference between this and the last one that we saw, and then what an early die state would look like. It's very sharp. See, this is a mid-die state obverse with a late die state reverse, which tells me specifically that the obverse and the reverse that minted this coin were not hung on the press at the same time. Probably had an early breakage of the obverse die, and it was switched out for a new obverse die. So the obverse die only wore down to mid-die state, and the reverse die had worn all the way down to late die state by the time this coin was struck. So basically what we're talking about in more palatable terms, an obverse with a mid-die state, we're talking about probably between 8 and 12,000, maybe 15,000 strikes. Late die state is when you get above 30 to 40,000 strikes. I'm sorry, this was coin number 30. This was from Malcolm. Let's see. Aha. Okay, Roger. Let me go check real quick. I'm going to open up that email address and look. We got a little bit of time we can spare, right? You guys don't mind allowing me to do just a wee little bit of business. Let me go check my email. Roger Borland, you are registered. Let's see. I've also got Chris Conrad. If you happen to be here, Chris Conrad, you are now registered as well. I've got your information. I've got Roger Borland's information. So sometimes somebody has to kick me in the back of the head and tell me to go look at that email. All right, Gulf Coast Treasures comes up next. Coin number 31. Coin number 31. This is coin number 31. Gulf Coast Treasures. So I found it rather interesting when I first started studying coins to the extent that I do, and I found out that you can actually tell a lot about a coin just by looking at the design, and you can see many different things in the design of a coin as it was struck that most people may or may not even notice. One of those things being the design transference that happens when dies begin to wear out. What we call a transference, a die transference, is when the pressure of the obverse and the reverse slamming up against one another with that planchet between that makes the coin. The number of times that happens, the obverse design starts to wear into the reverse, and the reverse design starts to wear into the obverse. And in this particular case, where that's most observable is near and in the throat, there will often be a clash line, or what appears to be a clash line, that belongs to the N of cent on the reverse, because the N of cent on the reverse is directly opposite where the throat is on the obverse. So you have to think of specifically the opposite effect. Okay. Now, and just pay a little close attention right here. Just watch this real carefully. This area right here, you can see that there's a lot more die flow lines, these little flow lines. There's a lot more of those in this area than there are right over here. Why? Well, okay, so you might say it's further away from the center of the design. So the further you go from the center of the design, the more die wear there is. Well, that's reasonable. But why would it be more right here than out here? Say, for instance, because this is closer to the edge. Well, the reason, and I could show you pretty clearly what the reason is when I back out on this coin just a little bit and refocus. If you look right over here, you've got some extra fuzzy die wear. And you've got some extra fuzzy die wear. Well, if you think about the other side of the coin and flip it upside down, flip the design upside down in your mind, and think about it, this would be the edge of the head. Okay? So right over here, you've got the back of the head. Over here, you've got the front of the head, the forehead and the nose and whatnot. Okay? And there is a large change in a very small area of relief, meaning you've got part of the coin that stands out very quickly. You're going on the flat field, and then suddenly you stand out where the back of the hair is and where the forehead is. Well, those wear on the opposite side of the design, just like this, where you actually get little lines, and eventually you can actually see that wear come through as a shadow design. So you can see right here, this right in here is part of Lincoln's coat. On the other side, you come up here and you got the back of his neck, and right here is the collar, and then back here is the back of the jacket. Okay? And then here you've got the bow tie right in this area, and then you've got the front of the vest right over here, and you can see that those areas have more die wear than anywhere else on the reverse, and they flow in a slightly weird direction. If you're thinking about pancaking straight out, kind of like raindrops on a windshield, they're flowing in the wrong direction here. Well, that's because of the change in topography of the design of the opposite side of the coin, and the fact that change in topography, basically water will follow the path of least resistance, as will fluid molecules of steel while coins are being struck. There you go. All right, so this is going to be coin number 33. This is going to Chuck Patillo. Mr. Patillo, Chuck number 2. Let's see what Chuck number 2 gets. Well, unfortunately, this whole roll so far has been slightly later die state, somewhat lightly stained, somewhat lacking luster. It's been a good educational piece, but it's not of high value. So unfortunately, this one is not one of the better rolls that we've been through. So that was coin number 33 for Chuck Patillo. I'm trying, Dennis. I'm trying. We're supposed to have another camera that's supposed to be working on the right-hand side of the screen, and it is black. And that is where I show the flip inserts and the name of the person to whom the next coin goes. This particular one is coin number 34. It's going to Stanley Zokowski. A lot of little things, a lot of tiny things, just really small things can be read from looking at the obverse and reverse of a coin. Many of these have an earlier die state obverse than reverse. And that's extremely possible. I mean, they don't always hang dies in pairs. Sometimes they just change one. And when they just change one, you end up with die wear on one side and no die wear on the other side. This is an earlier mid-die state right here. Everything's still relatively sharp. Not a whole lot of flow lines. You see the design is relatively sharp pretty much everywhere. But you do have a crack that has developed over the front of the coat. All of this right here is a die crack. So the die is cracking apart, okay, beginning to fall apart. And that can happen anywhere between a couple of thousand coins all the way up into 50, 60, maybe even 100,000 coins. I haven't seen Jeff Dunn in the last week. So, no, I'm not sure where he is. I have not seen him lately. He hasn't shown up to any of the pools lately. He usually gets coins in the pools. He may be at the show tomorrow, but he wasn't at the reveal show last week. So, I don't know. Coin number 36 now for Deanne. And this goes out to all of you, regardless of who you are. If you're going to disappear from my channel, I only ask you this. You have no responsibility to report to me, but I do care. And because I care, I like to know what's going on. If for any reason you decide to vacate the channel for a while or for good, please just let me know. This one's going to be replaced. Deanne has such terrible luck these days. This is the second coin in this roll that I'm replacing for Deanne. You're going to go in and out on the audio as I turn my head because I have a very bad microphone. I need to replace it. In fact, I need to replace all of my electronic gear. That was coin number 36 for Deanne. Now number 37, Mr. Worley. If you could see how I was set up here, you would understand that I've got one thing set up to my left. My screen is set up to my left. The chat is basically directly in front of me. My microscope screen is to my right, and then my microscope is about 2.5, 3 feet away from me to the right. So I'm reaching back and forth in all directions, and my head is spinning like a swivel. And so when I turn my head away from the microphone, it tends to distort and not sound right. I apologize for that in advance, but it's just one of the things that's going to happen until I can get a real microphone. And this one is not a good coin. We're going to replace this one for Mr. Worley. It wouldn't be so hideous if it didn't have black spots all over it. So, coin number 37. Number 37 for Mr. Worley. Now number 38. Dennis. Back to Dennis. Coin number 38. And few stains. Not the worst coin in the roll, but not the best. Nothing on the obverse. Let's check the reverse. Nothing special on the reverse either, unfortunately. We have run into one coin in this entire roll so far that looked like it could possibly be a doubled eyelid. Was not a very promising looking doubled eyelid, but it was probably one nonetheless. This is number 39, JJ Addict. Number 39 goes to JJ Addict. I got nothing here on the obverse. I'll check the reverse. Natural tendencies, I understand the whole shift working thing. I did that for a long time. I worked shifts for a long time. In fact, I did it for so long I had a resentment toward people who got up in the morning and went to work on the rush hour and had traffic time reports and all that kind of stuff, and it seemed like my part of the life was just totally forgotten because I went in when everybody else was getting ready to get off work, and I was in until the middle of the night, and then I went home. There was no traffic, there was nobody, and no radio, and I'm trying to sleep in the morning and everybody's up moving around. It's a horrible thing. This is number 40 for Stephen A. And I've got nothing again. Nothing special for Stephen. This is coin number 41 now. 41 for Taco John. And coin number 41 for Taco John will be, well, it looks like a nice clean coin. I mean, it's not ugly, right? Why did I do that? I jinxed myself, okay? I say, yeah, this is actually a pretty nice looking coin before I finish looking at it. I gotta stop doing that. I don't want to jinx myself here. This is struck through. Struck through, a little bit of fiber. It's a little fiber laying on the planchette right here while the coin was struck. Probably a piece of thread. Something like thread. That was coin number 41 for Taco John. This is coin number 42 now. Coin number 42 goes to Paul Hampton. And Paul Hampton's coin is actually pretty nice. It's got color on it. I like color. I think Paul likes color. And color doesn't show up very well under a microscope because we're flooding it with light. So luster and color aren't going to show very well under a microscope. This one's got a big spot on the reverse. It's a big stain right here. Turned it brown in that one area. All right, well, that's for Paul. And coin number 42, now coin number 43. If for people who are finding this channel, you go back and you watch some of the older shows, you'll see not only do we often find decent stuff in the rolls. Yeah, this one's going to be a chargeback. Nice, bright, beautiful coin until Larry got a hold of it. Larry smeared the hell out of it, so it's actually a pretty decent reverse. Yeah, I bet Larry got this. And this one's for Crispy. This is coin number 43 for Crispy. Crispy, I'm gonna toss one back to you on that one. Coin number 43. Crispy mofo. 1776. Penny Hoarder. Penny Hoarder gets coin number 44. Number 44, Penny Hoarder. Penny Hoarder, number 44. Line 2 for Penny Hoarder. Penny Hoarder, line 2. This one was an ender. That's why the reverse has that powdery stain toning on it. All right, number 45. 45 goes to Deanne. Let's hope Deanne gets at least one decent coin out of this roll. This one looks like it's okay. I think it's going to work. Yeah, there we go. Not a bad coin. Alright, it isn't anything but a 1944D, but Deanne at least gets one decent clean coin out of here for the album. Here is Ant 2242. Ant 2242 and coin number 46. It looks like all we're going to end up with is normal coins out of this roll. A little bit of a disappointing challenge. I like to get at least an RPM or two out of the rolls, but it isn't always going to happen. That's why they have value. They have value because, well, they're not common. If you could find one every day, it would have no value. So here's number 47. This one's for Crispy. Going back to Crispy again. There's actually some pretty decent color and pretty decent toning and some decent luster on many of these coins. They're going to look a little bit better than they do under the scope, and the reason for that is because when you go under this kind of magnification, it's going to show you every single little tiny flaw the coin has, but then when you hold it in your hand, it's actually going to look quite a bit better because, well, you're half blind and it's going to look shiny. There's your reason. You're human. You're not an eagle. You're human. Carl, 3 coins left in the roll, and number 48 belongs to Carl. You know, and this one's going to turn out to be kind of nothing special, just like the other ones that were nothing special. This one's nothing less or more special than the others. Unfortunately so. Now number 49. Yo-Man. Yo-Man gets number 49. And looking around, I don't see an RPM. I don't see a doubled eyelid. I don't see anything in the motto. And I don't see anything on Liberty, nothing on the ear. Those are all the spots that I check as I'm going around looking at these. I'm checking all that for doubling. And then on the reverse, what I'm looking at is the outside edge of the right wheat. Then I look at the tops of the letters around E pluribus unum. I check the center for any shift doubling off the E or the C of cent. And then I check the left side of the left wheat. And once you have checked all that and you're pretty certain you don't see anything unusual, you probably have a very normal coin. So that's number 49 for Yo-Man. Now we're going to go to coin number 50, the very last one in the roll, and this one goes to Eric. Eric will get the last coin in the roll, and you are welcome very much, everyone, for my dutiful narration of all of the flip names because my camera decided to sissy out and not do its job. So I had to do the camera's job for it. Bag camera. And we got nothing. One possible doubled eyelid in this roll. Nothing else, unfortunately. Well, I can't say I didn't have fun. I did have fun, but it's a little disappointing when you do it strictly for entertainment value and there's nothing else in there. But this has been a fun evening. But yes, like Spiked Head Die Crack says, if you want something entertaining, go back to the 1960D reveal that we did earlier this week. There were some really nice die varieties in the 1960D reveal. Actually turned up, 8 examples of a quite scarce and very nice double die in that roll. And that was nice. That was interesting. That was fun. All right, so here is the schedule as we have it. I do have one reveal left for this week. The one reveal that I have left for this week will be tomorrow afternoon, or actually tomorrow evening. It'll be tomorrow night after the 7 o'clock Eastern Time show where we sell next week's reveal rolls. And then we will be doing the reveal on the final roll for the week, which is a 1944S. 1944S BU roll. And then Tuesday, we'll be back with another auction. Another auction that will be very fun. We will have singles, rolls, lots, all kinds of interesting things. And we will be doing more 1960D rolls this coming week. We'll be doing one this coming week. A 60D. We'll be doing a 60D and a 61D. And I just like 1964 plain, so I think we're going to do a 64 plain roll too. We're going to get back to the basics and do some inexpensive rolls, especially for some of the rookies that are coming along who want to get involved, but they don't want to spend $8-10 a coin. I'll be able to get you in for $1, $2 a coin, and we'll have some fun. So I am going to split off now, get my work done for the evening, get some of these packages put together for the mail tomorrow, and try to get as much out as I possibly can in the postal run tomorrow while I get ready for the reveal show. So I appreciate it, folks. I'm going to get off here now and see if I can fix my camera issue and get on to bed and get up in the morning nice, bright, and bushy-tailed for my coffee and not speak to anyone for about an hour after I get up, because that's the way I am in the mornings. I hope everybody here had fun. I hope everybody here enjoys doing this. I certainly enjoy doing it, and I appreciate you guys being here, and I will talk to you next time. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you later.